From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. AccuWeather meteorologists are warning that several days of rain will hit portions of the Northwest and California, bringing the risk of flooding and landslides. While the rain may subside a little more quickly in some locations, snow is expected to take its place and bring a new set of challenges. An atmospheric river is a phenomenon that occurs when moisture consolidates and travels a long distance, only to be deposited someplace else. Now, this can happen anywhere in the globe, but is often noticed along the west coast of the U.S. The funneling of tropical moisture, specifically from the central Pacific near Hawaii, into the continental U.S. is known as the Pineapple Express. Over the next week, the Pineapple Express is expected to unload on the Pacific Northwest and the northern half of California, bringing with it the risk of that flooding rain and snow. Now, the winter months are typically the wettest time of the year for California and the Northwest, so the region is no stranger to rain and snow in late January and early February. But it has been abnormally dry since the start of the year. San Francisco has reported only 0.13 of an inch of rain since January 1st, when the historical average for the month is around 4 inches. Redding, California has reported 0.63 of an inch, a minuscule 10% of the normal for January. The recent dry conditions could further the risk of flooding as heavy rain moves into the region. Through Monday, the atmospheric river is expected to point right to the northern California coast, bringing with it the biggest rainstorm so far this year. Well, with so much rain in just a few days, though, there will be a heightened risk of flooding. In the more mountainous terrain, landslides will also be a concern. Both flooding and landslides could lead to travel delays or possibly road closures. Air travel is also expected to be impacted given the multi-day event of gusty winds and rain. Widespread rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are expected for San Francisco and the Bay Area northward to northwestern Oregon, with over half a foot of rain in portions of northern California. Now, in addition to the heavy rain falling in the valleys, higher terrain is also expected to be impacted. Snow levels in the Sierra will be the lowest, around 7,000 feet or so, as the storm moves in Friday afternoon, with snow levels rising to almost 9,000 feet and then staying there throughout the weekend. Now, snow at this high altitude is well above pass level. The mountains currently covered in feet of snow can expect several inches of rain, further raising some concerns of flooding. Another wave of moisture is expected early next week and may bring a push of colder air and the risk of snow in the higher terrain of Northern California. Now, a lot of the focus on the West Coast in recent weeks has been on the wildfires there, and rightly so. But wildfires are not limited to just Southern California. Firefighters in North Carolina worked this week to contain the Crooked Creek fire that ignited Wednesday, and another fire, the North Fork fire, that sparked in the same region and was fanned by high winds midweek. The North Fork fire is burning in rugged terrain above the North Fork of the Catawba River in the Graveyard Mountain area, and as of Thursday evening had burned 200 acres and was 20% contained. The Crooked Creek fire had burned an estimated 220 acres, but was 100% contained as of Thursday afternoon. Crews said they made significant progress overnight as winds diminished and relative humidity increased, leading to lower fire activity. Now, any wildfire is of concern, but in this particular area, it's of greater concern because these fires were burning near Old Fort, which is east of Asheville and part of western North Carolina that was ravaged by Hurricane Helene in September, and it's still struggling to recover. The evacuation order was lifted on Thursday morning, allowing residents to return to their homes. Now, there have been no injuries or fatalities reported at this point. However, one home sustained damage and multiple outbuildings have been destroyed. Now, despite the incredible amount of rainfall that Hurricane Helene dumped on the region and then the resulting catastrophic flooding, officials have warned about elevated risks of wildfire recently. The North Carolina Forest Service said that rapidly drying conditions, debris from millions of trees that Helene knocked down, and wind have created conditions just right for fires to readily ignite and easily escape. Drought conditions persist in parts of North Carolina, particularly in the western half, where Helene caused incredible destruction, and the region where the wildfires broke out, making it more difficult to fight any wildfires that do break out, as well as make it easier for them to reignite. A fire risk map maintained by North Carolina's State Climate Office showed the area where the fire erupted was at extreme risk of wildfire, with much of the state at a high risk. The region's fire seasons occur in spring and fall, but fires in January are not unusual. State officials are urging people in the region to take extra precautions against wildfires before wildfire season officially begins in a few weeks. That's all for now. You can find more stories and regional forecasts at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.